Welcome back to the Adonai Games animation workshop. Today we are going to be looking at setting the player damage to be applied over the animation instead of actually working on event ticks. And we can achieve this by having event notifies from animations, or also known as anim notifies. So the first thing you want to do is understand what a notify is. So if I open attack P1, as you can see here, you have a layer of notifies. You can add more tracks to this notify list to put in notifies, etc. And what exactly a notify is just a point of time within the animation where you want something to happen. So kind of how you create a custom event, right? There's whenever we create a custom event, for instance, there's this repeat heal after time, and then it goes to this custom event. Whenever this function, this is the call function, and this is the event for it. So whenever this part has a execute node into it, basically it also triggers this and starts this entire function again. Right, so notify state is the same, except that instead of you relying on an execute node to be acting as a call function, you just have a notify that you can create right here by right clicking, and then either you can go new notifies or skeleton notifies if you created one before. It's just going to ask you for a name. I'm just going to say new notify class overview. Right, and then you can move this around. You can play around with it as whatever you want to do. You can move it between tracks as well. I'm not going to need the second track, so I'm going to remove it for now. Okay, so what the main purpose this is going to serve is whenever this particular notify, whenever the animation passes through this notify, if you right click it and then you set it to a proper frame, I'll set it to frame 40. Whenever it passes through this particular frame, it's going to send out a call function, and then you can have a custom event for it. So I guess you could have something like, let me go open the animation blueprint. We just created class overview. Okay, anim notify class overview, right? This is exactly what we made it right here. And let me add just a print string, and we can do animation frame 40 was played. Okay, so now whenever this particular animation is going to be played and it passes the 40th frame, it's going to send out a print string for us. As you can see, animation frame 40 was played. And then it's also going to do it again if I do it here. Yep. Okay, and this works because that animation is being played, but even though we have a montage selected, right? We have our montage playing as our attacks. If you see right here, it says anim montage, and this is a reference to the slice montage. Even though we put it on the animation sequence, the animation montage is automatically going to inherit that from it. Because at the end of the day, the animation montage is just it's like a code overlay on top of the animation itself, the animation sequence. All right. So now what you know that you can have a notify like this. Let's look at something for attacking. For attacking purposes, the way we were using it was it checks for an event tick, right? So over the entire course of every single second while the thing is attacking, it's going to search for if the thing hit or not, if the NPC got hit or not. Okay, so now for this animation, right, we don't want it to only have that one particular single hit, right? If we had it like that, then I have an anim notify here. No, I'll have to have it in the animation blueprint. But anyway, the point being, like, you don't want it to just be a singular collision box. So you can see like how it separates out the different capsule components, right? you don't want it to be a single one. So what we need to do is we need to make an anim notify state. And the way you do that is by you right click right here, and then you go to blueprints. Under blueprint class, there is something known as anim notify state under all classes, right? Anim notify state, and then there it also shows you the ones that are already existing. You want to just select the one that create a brand new one. Okay, and once you create a brand new one, you will see that inside it, like it shouldn't really have any code inside it. It's just gonna have compiler results. So what you do here is instead of adding a brand new function, a function is basically it's going to need a trigger for it. Like you need a call function, and then this is going to be the event part of it. So similar to a custom event. But what you can do is a function override. So overrides are some things that are pre-existing in the code, and like Unreal interacts with it, and it just automatically calls that function whenever it automatically calls this event whenever the call function for this is run. So there is event receive notify begin, then there is move my mouse, there you go. There's receive notify end, receive notify begin, and then there's receive notify tick. So receive notify begin and end basically mean this is when the notification ended. Receive notify begin is basically when the notification started, and receive notify tick is basically when during the entire duration. So as many frames as there is during your animation state, notify state, that's how many ticks it's going to play it for. So now if we go back to the animation slice, inside the notifiers, instead of adding a notify right here, you can add a notify state and then just select the one that you just created. Since mine is called Anim notify attack prat, that's the one I can create. And here you can right click it and you can set the starting frame for it. So let's say I want the starting frame to be 15, and then I want this to be a total of 20 frames long, right? So as soon as our character gets to this particular position, as soon as it gets on the 15th frame, it's going to send out the anim notify begin. So it's going to start playing this part. Let me just make it a little clearer. So here I'll do if my mouse would move, that would be great. Anim notify begin. Then I'll do a similar one for anim notify end. Okay, and then let's go to the anim notify tick. Going to disconnect this for now. Anim notify tick. Okay, so right now, since we have it 2 times, it's gonna play it 2 times, but let's see what it does on the developer log. So you see where it says anim notify begin, and oh, I guess I didn't change the end portion to say end. It still just says notify begin here. Okay, let me also color this in red. Pink seems to work fine. Begin's gonna be, let me make this green. This is just so for clarity's sake. And I'm gonna make this part yellow because this is like a middle transition. Okay. So now if I go ahead and attack, you see it says anim notify begin, and begin, and then there's the tick. So throughout the entire process, what we learned is that between the animation state, whenever you need Whenever you need to have an event play over some time, you can use a notify state. And whenever you just need the start or stopping point, you can use a notify state and use the notify begin, notify end, or you can have the whole basic notify. Okay, so now that you have this set up, right now mine is set up to be at 40 or at frame 50 to frame 60 is when our character is swinging our sword. So that's the time I want him to attack. So let's go and look inside the anim notify code of what we did. So let me get rid of the print strings because we don't need it anymore. Okay, so for this, what I ended up doing is instead of it being event ticks, I created a brand new custom event called attack ticks, right? You just go ahead and create a custom event and then you rename it to whatever you want. And let me break the event tick part. Okay, and then it's going into our sphere trace for objects and it's doing the entire apply damage thing and everything that we did from from yesterday's episode. So now if we go back to the attack notify, anim notify, we are just getting actor of class, making sure the mesh component is the world context object, and then finding our playable character. So this is get actor of class. We've used this multiple times before, and we're using that to get to our custom event. So this is the call function for attack ticks. So every single time the notify tick ticks, it's going to check for the actor, and then it's going to attack. It's going to play the attack ticks function, and that's basically going to go here. So now if we start playing it, you will see that our character itself doesn't have the capsule component already showing, but it's only going to do that once we start attacking and it passes that frame. So those are the only times it can actually attack things. That's one, and that's two. Okay, and once you have that done, basically you can have your code is basically completed for attacking. And if you wanted to make more fancy, you can add something such as the spawn system allocation. This is just let me do fire shield. Sure, why not? So this is just a particle system that is being created at the impact point out of the hit. So if I go and play it and then I would go into the character. Oh, now you can see like the other character is not moving based on it's not taking instant damage as soon as the sword crosses him, but only will once. So you see. Okay. And for right now, since the particle system is automatically activating but not destroying itself, what you can do is you can add a little delay here for maybe 0.2 seconds, and then you're gonna do deactivate. Since this particle system is being auto-activated here, you can set how much time you want it to be active and then deactivate. So it's only gonna play for 0.2 seconds and then it's gonna go away. Ideally, that's what it should do. Okay. Then it must be something within the particle itself. But that's not as important. All right. And then again, you can also add things like more notifies on top of these. For instance, in the animation blueprint for the slam part, we have something like we have a custom notify right here, which is when I wanted to play this particular animation, right? And the Earth Warrior crack. I wanted to activate and then maybe stay there for like a second and then destroy it itself. So this is the custom anim notification for it. This is in the animation blueprint. Then it's the spawn system attached. I'm using the character blueprint reference to find the sword top part, and then using that as the attached component. So that's where the particle system is going to spawn. And then after 1 second delay, it's going to deactivate itself. So if I do one, and then the second part of it, is there a reason this isn't playing? Oh, I just changed the name on it apparently. Playing montage notify. What is this called? Notification XYZ. Did I end up deleting that? Notify. Let's see. Let's go to notifies. Can I do a manage notifies? Okay, for some reason that notify is not there anymore, so apparently like the reference is broken. So let me just go ahead and replace this with this is custom event notify, and then I can just go here and change this to custom event notify. Well, at least this is good in case you ever run into issues like this, you can see it. So that's one, and then yeah, so that's an animation notify state, and then the anim notify is being used to call the particles, and the anim notify state is used to calculate the damage. And that's all we learned for this episode.